Hello, my name is Bree, and I'm going to share this final video in a three-part series that I've been doing on furniture flipping. In this first video, I shared with you how to find furniture and where to find it. And then in the second video, I showed you how to flip the furniture. Now in this one, I'm going to share with you how you can make the most amount of money by selling your product. Then at the end, as a bonus, I want to share with you why I prefer to use Facebook Marketplace over other sites such as eBay, Craigslist, and kind of share the pros and cons of that. First thing you want to do is to style it. You're going to place it in the right location, so go look for some natural light, not direct sunlight, just kind of like open shade beside a window. Next, check your background. Make sure that nothing in your background is distracting. Make sure everything is cleaned up and orderly and just really complements your product. And make sure it makes sense in a room too. So for example, you'll not want to put a coffee table in your kitchen. That way it looks natural and someone can picture it in their own home. Next, you can lightly style it too. Maybe find like a plant or some books or an old camera. I like to take photos without anything on there, and then also like one with. That way people can kind of envision like how they would style it, and then maybe that'll just trigger an idea of maybe where they can use it in their space. Now, if you have like a picture or a clock or a mirror, I think it looks nicer to have it mounted on the wall. I'll just take down a picture I usually have hanging there and then put it there. Also, pay attention to what's being reflected in the mirror when you take the photo later. So now that you have it styled and ready to go ahead and take the measurements. That way you can have it ready to go for later. Make sure you measure the height, the width, the depth, and then also if you're doing like a chair, make sure and measure the seat height too. People like to know that. That way if they have a table they're trying to match it to, it's easy for them. Anything that you can think of, because you do not want to have to go back and remeasure the product, especially if you have it up in storage. So the next step is to photograph it. This is probably the most important step. As you know, people are very image driven these days, especially on social media. They're going to be scrolling so quickly, so you need an image that will stop them in their tracks and will get them to view your post. So make sure your photos are clean, crisp, clear, sharp, and the best way that you can do that is by photographing them in natural light. Turn off all the lights if you can, and then just have the product naturally lit in front of that window. That will give you the correct color temperature, because as you know, like bulbs and things like that cast different colors. You want that person to see the most accurate color of your product. That way they're not confused later on. So I have a couple other ways to get the correct color temperature as well as exposure in camera, just using my smartphone that I don't feel like a lot of people use. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that in action.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your lens doesn't have any fingerprints on it. Then you can adjust the exposure by tapping it, and you'll see a little circle come up on my Android. I can drag the exposure bar to lighten or darken. Then also to pick a different color temp, just kind of hold it around the room and see what you like, and then lock it in and bring it down back on your photo. When taking a picture, don't stand up like this. Get down low. That way you can get a better angle on the product and they can see it really well. Take some styled, and then without, make sure and show any markings or blemishes it might have. Try and take as many photos as you can. Next, you're going to want to edit it. I love this Lightroom app, so I was going to just kind of show you around. You'll add your photo in, and it's super easy to use. Then I like to do just a few basic adjustments like cropping, make sure your lines are straight, and then adjusting the exposure and that kind of thing.
Now that you have beautiful photos and you have all your information, you're ready to list. So let me take you over to Facebook Marketplace and show you how to do that.
So log into your Facebook account, click on the Marketplace icon, create new listing, then pick your photos that you took. Make sure the very best one is displayed. You can move them around the way you like. When choosing a title, make sure you use lots of descriptive keywords that will help people while they search, and then fill out all the information that you possibly can. When setting a price, make sure you're willing to negotiate a little bit with that price. People usually try to negotiate at least 20%, so set it maybe just a little bit higher, that way you can come down. I love they have all these options, that way when people are searching, it just kind of helps narrow their search. Then in the description, I try to be as detailed as possible so I won't have to answer questions later. I add dimensions, and then if I'll deliver or not, add local pickup, and then I'm all done.
Now, I would really recommend that you download the Messenger app on your phone. That way you can have very quick communication with your buyers. If people aren't responded to quickly, they might move on to another seller. Now, it's up to you to make the decision of where you want to meet and what kind of payment you want to receive. A lot of people only accept cash. I also prefer to offer Venmo in the Cash App as well. I know it's convenient for them to not have to go to the bank and get the cash, so they might choose me over that. It's also great too for me because that way I can accept a security deposit that way, or if they want to pay in full and I just put the product out on the porch, they can come get it whenever they want, and it makes it super convenient for me. All right, so say your product hasn't sold in a couple days and you're kind of wondering why. There's a couple things you can do. First, go ahead and look on your product and see how many views it has gotten or clicks. And that'll tell if people are actually getting their eyes on it or they're just kind of like scrolling right past it. If people are clicking on it, then maybe they're just waiting for the price to come down, so maybe consider dropping it a few dollars. I always like to drop it like 10% every couple days just to keep it fresh and rolling. And then when you do that, it shows the original price and then what it is now. So sometimes people see that as like a deal. So that's kind of encouraging them to buy too, or they see you're marking it down and they want to make sure not miss out, so they might snatch it up. Because it does notify them whenever a product has dropped in price. So maybe they forgot about it and now it's bringing it back up in their mind and they're like, oh yeah, I wanted that. So then they'll buy it from you. After it's been up for about a week, it will have an option for you to renew the listing. This is really great too because it kind of sets it back into the feed, because as new things get put on, it kind of gets buried. But if you refresh, then they'll know, oh, this is still available, and then you can put it up to the top and then people can look at it again. And then also, if it's been on there long enough and it still hasn't sold, there's an option to delete and relist. That way it kind of takes it off and it doesn't have this tracking of like how many weeks it's been on Facebook. It just kind of refreshes it and puts it at the top as another new listing. Because if it's been on there for like 3 or 4 weeks, people are gonna think like, it's probably still not available, so they won't even ask. That way it kind of just keeps it going. All right, congratulations, that's it. You are now a seller on Facebook Marketplace. Hopefully I laid this out easily for you so you can just follow along the steps and do it yourself. I've never had a piece of furniture not sell on Facebook Marketplace. You just have to be patient and wait, and everything will sell for the right price. So now as a bonus, let me share why I prefer to sell on Facebook Marketplace over eBay, Craigslist, and other sites like that. So first of all, Facebook has 3 billion users. 1 billion of those are on Marketplace, so that is just a massive market. But there are 2 main reasons why I love selling on Facebook Marketplace the most. First being that I get to keep 100% of the profit if I sell in person. Most websites do not allow that. Second of all, I feel very safe and secure using Facebook Marketplace. So I love that there are profiles. That way you can communicate through your profile. You don't have to use your own personal information, your telephone number, your email. If a transaction kind of goes south, you're protected. Also, the fact that you can check out the ratings of other people, and you can also rate people. That way they know you're trustworthy or not. So I started selling in 2016 when they opened as kind of an online garage sale, and I've been able to have a 5-star rating. So now when people see that and then they see my photo, they're more willing to buy from me because they see that other people have rated me well on punctuality, fairness of price, and other things as well. So if you are using Facebook in person, this is the best way to go in my opinion. But if you're gonna be mailing things out, I mentioned it's 5%. It is convenient because you only have to make 1 listing and mark it for sale or for in person. That saves time. But if you have a higher cost item that's smaller, you're better off to take it to eBay. eBay only takes 35 cents per listing. So they don't take as much money, but you do have to relist the product every 10 days as it expires. So if you have a lot of product to list too, you have to keep that in mind. Etsy is the same way. It's actually only 20 cents. Because I'm selling furniture and it's gonna cost a lot to ship, it's better off for me to sell in person. I know that you can use those sites that way to sell locally, but I just feel like Facebook is a lot easier to use because the market is so much bigger. Now Craigslist the same way, where you don't have to pay for listings, but I just don't feel like it's as secure, and you can't check out the person, so you never know who you're going to meet. You also have to think about who your buyer is. So I'm trying to sell a higher end furniture piece that's been restored, so people want free or cheap things on Craigslist, so I don't feel like Craigslist would be your market for selling. Now maybe for buying, you could find good pieces there, but that's not where I like to sell. So that's it. This is the end of my 3-part series in furniture flipping. I just really wanted to share this with you because it has been such a blessing to me and a joy because I enjoy it. And also it's provided so much extra money for my family to go on vacations, to do fun things. And I just feel like anybody can do it. And so I kind of wanted to break it down to show you how you could do it. And I'd love to hear from you if you've tried to flip your own pieces and how that's gone for you. But feel free to share it in the comments below. So I'm so excited about all the other ideas I'm going to try next for different side hustles and ways to make money. So if this is really interesting to you, feel free to subscribe so you can follow along and try with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!